Hello and welcome to our third Greenplum Summit 2020 live broadcast. Let me start by saying thank you all again for joining. There's been such incredible energy at each of the sessions for this year's virtual summit. There's been a ton of crowdsourcing within the Greenplum community as well, and it's so awesome to see. We know that there's a ton of other ways that you can be spending your time today, so thank you. Thank you for choosing to be here. Last time we had a 95% turnout rate, which is super impressive, and the feedback has all been very positive. So we're going to be continuing these conversations with you and sharing knowledge globally around modernizing your data strategy with the best and the only open source data analytics platform. And in terms of global representation today, we have speakers from China, from Russia, and from all across America. Next slide. We're here at 9 a.m. Pacific every other Wednesday through September for our reimagined digital customer conference. I'm your MC, and for those of you who do not know me, my name is Jacques Eistock. I'm the Vice President of Data here at VMware Tanzu and a member of the Greenplum team since way back in 2007. Every other week, we've been diving into one main topic with a handful of sessions around that topic delivered by subject matter experts, by users, by customers, and by partners. So let's take a quick look at those topics. Our first session was Greenplum Your Way, bare metal, VMs, Kubernetes in the public cloud, or all of the above. Our next session, we talked about federated analytics, wrangling business insight from all of your disparate systems. And coming soon, we're going to see Parallel Postgres, the Community Innovation Showcase, as well as AI, neural networks, and the future of analytics. Of course, today, we're going to talk about data warehouse modernization. Also note, the past sessions were recorded and can be found up on the VMware Learning Zone, and there's no registration needed. So that's vmwarelearningzone.vmware.com. So in addition to the great roster of speakers that we have today, I'm also joined by two co-hosts. The first is our data architecture subject expert and Greenplum guru, John Roberts, who's going to monitor the Q&A box. Please use this for any questions that you have. We've also enabled the chat box so that he and others can amplify key messages throughout the show. So please don't be shy to chat with him, but please remember the activity in the chat box can get quite busy. So if you have any direct questions, put them into the Q&A box so we can get those answered. And at the end of today's session, know that we can continue our conversations on the Greenplum Slack channel, which is open to the public. My second co-host is Ivan Novick. Ivan is the product manager for Greenplum from VMware Tanzu R&D. Ivan and I wanted to begin today's session by going through a quick overview of what Greenplum is. So Ivan, thanks for joining me. Next slide.
Thanks, Jacques, and thanks for the intro. So in this session, we really want to show that not only is Greenplum in its prime time now and really production ready and really being used by hundreds of customers around the world to power their infrastructure, but we really have a strategy in place which is going to be there for the future, and that we're going to continue to be innovating on Greenplum and making sure that this platform can provide what you need both now and going forward based on our roadmap and our new developments that we're creating in Greenplum. Next slide, please.
That's great to hear, Ivan. And clearly Gartner agrees with you given that we're number one.
Well, we're number one in terms of the open source products in the list here. You can see that we actually, I'm really proud that we came in number 3 overall in terms of data warehouse capabilities as referenced by Gartner through the process of interviewing customers and finding out what are they actually doing, how are they using our product, what are the capabilities, and they established that actually Greenplum is ranked number 3 And I think we're not satisfied just to stay at number 3. I think with our heavy investment and from VMware and our focus and strategy, really think there's an opportunity for Greenplum to separate from the pack and become a world leader in this space. Next slide. So the data warehouse of 10, 20 years ago is not the same. Back a decade or so, it was a very linear process of ETL reporting and traditional data warehousing. And right now, the use cases are exploding. The different dimensions of the problem are exploding, from devices that are within everything around everything that you experience, whether it's in your home, in the office, in cars, and the events being generated on the internet, that all businesses are faced with an explosion of new types of data and new algorithms that need to be used to process this data. So it's really not the linear traditional process of the past. And we need to be ready for a more complex and dynamic data environment that has all these different dimensions.
And this is where things like Hadoop and Spark and other projects just sort of popped up over the last 10 years, right, to try and solve those things.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to fill a gap from the very structured and linear process, but I think what people have found is that they filled some part of the gap, but they didn't really bring a holistic solution that could solve really high performance SQL in addition to these AI and ML and IoT type workloads, which is, as you're going to see, something that we're trying to do here.
Correct. So if you go to the next slide, you can see that there's been so many different solutions, companies, products, and projects, all with kind of shortcomings or immaturities, all with operational expense, data movement complexity. It's almost boggling the mind. It's never been more important for customers to try and simplify than today. As our customers tell us, the journey, for example, into Hadoop now has license costs for them that are 3 and sometimes 4 times larger than they ever expected. And so, a lot of them are looking for something better with both better economics as well as better user satisfaction. So if you go to the next slide.
Right. So with Greenplum, we're really trying to bring this together where with one platform, an enterprise can cover a large percentage, let's say 80% of all those use cases covered by those thousands of different products, and say, here's an analytical platform, an analytical database where you've got graph processing, you've got traditional SQL processing, you've got machine learning. And can we cover in a really small footprint, high performance, and simple to manage system, a large percentage of the use cases that you want to solve? And really only when you go out on that edge to niche types of workloads do you need to look for something else. So let's go to the next slide. So to try and understand how Greenplum can cover such a wide footprint and provide you the basic functionality that you need across all these different spectrums, let's try to define what is Greenplum. So fundamentally, Greenplum is a database technology. It's a relational database technology, and it comes from the core, which is the Postgres technology. So we've taken that core Postgres technology and we've created it into a massively parallel instantiation of that. So you can imagine there's thousands or hundreds of Postgres instances running holistically as one system, which is the Greenplum system, which makes it into massively parallel. And it actually breaks up individual workloads so that they can be smartly processed across the cluster and done, that things can be achieved at the speed of the parallel execution. What we've created is a compute grid. So not only can SQL processing be done in parallel, but other kinds of processing can be done as well, such as Python and R processing or deep neural network training. So the fact that we have this huge compute grid allows us to calculate and use that power for all kinds of analytical processing. Moving over to the left side of the graph, you can see the federated query database. So not only can you efficiently store data in a native Greenplum format, but you can also reach out to open systems like Parquet, Avro, and JSON, XML, or even other relational databases and query them remotely and bring all that data together using Greenplum as both a traditional and a federated database. When we integrate in the Apache Solr technology, we have the Greenplum text or GP text. And what we see there is we see large companies and government agencies who are able to bring this unique combination of text search, text analytics, and relational together in one to solve problems like understanding user complaints in an automated fashion, or understanding insurance claims in an automated fashion, or other kinds of processing that involve natural text. So, and then lastly, on the right corner, when you bring in things like the ability to analyze social networks and graphs, as well as locations based on geospatial coordinates or time series IoT events, and even images and medical images and image recognition, what you have is a fully complete analytical database that gives you a wide spectrum of algorithms and scalability that with one system can cover what you need. So let's go to the next slide.
So yeah, so when you put all of this stuff together, you're left with this cross-infrastructure platform that can access data stored anywhere through industry-leading ingestion speeds in parallel with both traditional database access as well as programmatic language access, such as Python, such as R, Java, all while giving you the freedom to capitalize on the third-party ecosystem that you've already made investments in, whether that's Informatica for ETL or DataStage, or a BI tool like Cognos or Tableau, etc. Next slide.
One of the hardest parts of a data platform or data infrastructure at an enterprise is the preparation of the data. Once the data is all prepared and it's in your database and it's cleaned and structured, then you can just churn through it and do very efficient processing. But before that happens, you need to do what we call data wrangling. Data wrangling is where you get that data from all these diverse sources and bring it together and have the ability to then do the processing on it in a cohesive way. So I think this is one of the less famous but under recognized benefits of Greenplum, is that using all these different data ingestion and all these different hooks that we have to modern open source technologies like NiFi, Spark, HDFS, S3, Kafka, Rabbit. These things are places where data lives. And with Greenplum, we need to be able to hook into all these things in high-speed parallel data ingestion and data reading and writing, be able to wrangle that data and use the power of the Greenplum compute to also modify, transform that data and get it into a place where we can start doing query processing either directly off of that data or integrating it into Greenplum and then combining it with other sets. So data wrangling is a really important part of it, and then the compute and the algorithms and the SQL as well.
Yep, and we learned a little bit about this in last session's Greenplum Summit 2 weeks ago, where you'll be able to see those recordings again up on vmwarelearningzone.vmware.com. Next slide.
Right, so now the question is how does this actually manifest and what is the purpose of it all? In the end, we're here for you, we're here for the customer, and we're building Greenplum for the customer. So we're here to help run all these different businesses. So whether you're in a government agency that's responsible for a mission for the country, the city or the state that you live in, or whether you are working in the transportation field, building autonomous vehicles, managing fleets, large fleets of systems. If you're in the banking or investment banking finance industry and you're doing millions and billions of trades on a daily basis and need to analyze the risk of it and to do compliance and surveillance of all the trades. And really, without going through all of these, we're here to support the industries of the world and the governments of the world to do their work and to make it simple and to make it efficient for them, using a platform where you can wrangle that data, you can ingest that data, you can query that data, no matter what type of data it is, no matter what kind of algorithm you need, you just query it in Greenplum and you're good to go. So we're here for you, we're here for the industries. And we think that focusing on the use cases and the industries that we need to perform for is how we're effective. And we're building strategies, technical strategies and R&D to make sure that our technology, as it said in the first slide, is not only what you need today, but is advancing year by year, taking advantage of the latest hardware, the latest cloud trends and everything to be ready for you to do your mission. Next slide.
So data warehouse modernization. The word modernization means transformation, innovation, upgrading, reconstruction, renewal, and redesigning of your IT. It's changing from older practices that I've talked about, older methods, into new ways according to the latest trends available today. Cloud is one aspect of modernization, and one visionary who happened to be CEO at both VMware and Pivotal, Paul Moritz, once coined that cloud isn't where you do it, it's how you do it. And I submit to you that when you use Greenplum, you're going to come to the realization that you've already modernized. Next slide. So thanks for joining me, Ivan. I think that an open source, massively parallel data analytics platform that runs natively across any infrastructure, bare metal, both public and private clouds, including Kubernetes, and can wrangle data regardless of where it's located, sounds pretty modern to me.